Hi, I'm Dr. Bertice Berry, and I want to tell you a story. It's a story from my first novel. The novel is called Redemption Song. It's about a couple who meet in the bookstore. They both want the same book. It's a one of a kind slave narrative. And the woman who owns the bookstore, Miss Cozy, who can kind of see into people's lives and knows what they need to read, Miss Cozy has the book. But she says, I'll let you read it, but you have to read it here and you have to read it together. Well, they just happen on this bookstore at the same time. They're not a couple, they don't even know each other. And they don't want to do that. Both of them selfishly want the book for their own. So she says, no, if you want to read it, you have to read it here and you have to read it together. Well, they do. And the story it opens up about a woman named Iona who lived on a plantation in the midst of a horrible existence. But in the midst of this horror, she finds love. Her love is sold away. He has found another woman and has had children by that woman. Iona, though, is on this horrible plantation and she's brutally raped by the slave owner and has a child, and her child is sold away. This man says, unless I can get with my Iona, I'm not truly free. She is my freedom. So he leaves his wife and sells everything he has and goes back into slavery to purchase her freedom, which he does, but he's killed the next morning. That's the first 6 pages of the book. Iona learns to read spontaneously and begins to write as well. And she writes into the future how someday their descendants, someone from his line, someone from her line, will find each other and complete the love. The two who've walked into the bookstore looking for that book, they're those descendants. We are living in amazing times. An election that is the most contentious we've ever seen. This pandemic of coronavirus that has kept us all shut in and locked in for 8 months. We're living through the awareness of systemic racism that's been revealed because we've been sitting still long enough to see it. And we're trying to get through. What we need to do is to look into the future and begin to write what we'd like to see. There is this feeling that comes from enduring trauma. And for generation to generation to generation, the safeguards of trying to avoid this trauma is taught. People who are descendants of people who were enslaved, black folk, we all know this feeling. If things get a little too good or too easy, we go, uh-oh, something bad's about to happen. We can't ever really celebrate the joy because we're so accustomed to experiencing this fear, suffering, pain that comes after a moment of peace. And so we've taught our children and their children and their children to beware. Those who rise to a level of any kind of success know to hide that success because the only folks who get lynched are the ones who are successful. So don't let anybody know. Those who are happy are pushed back down, pulled back down that barrel, pulled out of the sunlight, because how dare you be happy when someone else isn't? What I'm saying to you this morning is we've lived our lives in such a way that we can't even create the stories we'd like to see because we're so accustomed to the present day trauma, the stuff we're going through. And if I ever give you an assignment, it's going to be this. Sit down and write a letter to the future of what you want to see, what you want it to be, how you want it to become. I can see all of us living and working together in harmony. I can see the truth that sets us all free, that when you take care of the least of these, then everybody gets some of that pie, because so many new pies are created from those who've been left aside. I can see so many things Last night I moved out of fear and into this seeing, and the possibilities were endless. And then there's the reality of the reality, and somebody is always there to say, wake up and be real. I remember once I'd shared something, a dream that I'd had with my sister, and she said, you just need to stop dreaming. And that was the first day I stood up to her and I said, you're standing in the middle of my dream. How dare you? I don't know how this thing's going to turn out, but I know this, that I have the power, the wherewithal to create a future that nobody could see, because nobody knows the troubles I'd seen. And those troubles inform me that I could choose to stay in that or choose to create a brighter day. Create one with me. I need you to see with me today. I love you.